Hello and welcome to Doodle Club. My name is Kate Field and I'm an artist and a teacher and a speaker, and I am just wondering whether you have ever bought some metallic paints, tried them out, think that they didn't work very well and then just shoved them back in the cupboard. Because so many of my students have said that this has happened to them. And it's a very easy trick that I'm going to show you in this week's Doodle Club. So welcome if you are new, and welcome back if you've been with me for ages. This week's tutorial is going to be quite quick because I am really busy, and you probably are as well, because we're leading up to Christmas and I'm just seeing that my fire has started to smoke rather badly, so I need to have a look at that in a moment. But just take some time for yourself and let's do this very quick, easy tutorial in how to use metallic watercolours. Let's go. So I'm going to be using some ordinary vibrant watercolours and some metallic watercolours. And one of the problems is that if you just use the metallics straight onto the paper, you're not going to get the effect that you want. And this is why so many people buy these gorgeous colours, use them once, think that they don't work, and then just put them back in the cupboard. And that's really sad. What you need to do is to put down a base colour first. Now this tutorial is going to be really quick, largely because I am really busy and I expect you are as well. So I'm going to put down just little squares of watercolour, going straight in. I'm not kind of mixing or anything, and I'm going to show you how the different colours affect the outcome. And this doesn't just work for watercolours, this works for any paint, and it also is really good if you're using glitter pens or metallic acrylic pens or something like that. So I am just putting some warm colours on the top here. I'm just doing these really quickly. Now I suggest that you have a bit of a play as well. I'm just going to combine this. So if you've got a sketchbook, do this exercise. Just have a bit of a play with it. So I've got this kind of deep orangey yellow, a kind of a dusty red, and then a kind of a mix between the orange there. And then down here, I'm going to do some blue. So that's like a cobalt blue. I've nearly run out of this one. This is the turquoise. I use it so often. I absolutely love it. Such a beautiful colour. Let's just do a little bit more of that. Just using a little bit of water. I'm going to do purple, like that. I'm just going to do a bit more of that blue. Again, like this. And then with this purple, I'm just going to mix. I know I said I wasn't going to mix, but I changed my mind. Just mix it just to make it a kind of a violet colour, like that. And the key is to leave them to dry. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate these colours underneath. So I'll have a page of the oranges and then the blues. I'm just going to leave those ones to dry because they do have to be dry completely. And what we're trying to get is this kind of coppery. On this one I just wanted this coppery feel, and on this one I wanted a kind of a more silvery one. I did a whole tutorial on making these little baubles that I use for elements, and my star flower, like a poinsettia, I think. Anyway, those sorts of things. But I love using metallics, and I'm just going to show you on this page, when you put metallics, I'm just going to use this sort of steel grey and the silver. I'm not going to use the colours for this particular one. If you just put it onto the page, you get a shimmer, definitely, but it doesn't have luster really. It's just a bit boring. And this silver one it gets lost completely. I don't doubt if you can even see that. But the magic happens when you put the colours on top of another colour. Now, the old masters used to do this, and anyone who's done gilting will do this. If you put gold leaf onto white, I don't know, there's something lacking. You put it onto another colour and whoo, so many things happen. So I am going to do the silvers, and I'm also going to do the bronze and the copper on these colours to show you what happens. Now, some of these are dry, that one's not quite dry. Let's start off with silver. So I'm going to put the silver onto this orange, and let's just see what happens. Now, the watercolour will react together, but can you see that shimmer now? I am going to zoom in so that you can see it a bit more. Do the same. I'm just using this white silver on here. See the effect on that one. I'm not going to do that one because it's still wet. This one, I'm going to do the gold. It's like a rose, sort of rose gold. And you see that difference. And when it dries, you can see it even more. So you can do that. Let's just do it on the yellow. Look at that. And let's just go back to this one. If I was just to put that on to the white, you see, it doesn't look anything like as good, does it? Let's move on. Gold on top of the red. So it's going to be dependent on what effect you want. And this is why I really recommend that you have a practice. You do little samples like this and then you make notes. That's what I tell my students to do all the time. It's going to do that silver one at the top. It's also essential that you have clean water and a clean brush. Otherwise it doesn't work. Everything gets all muddled up. Right, let's just put some silver on top of this blue and see what happens with that. Again, sort of leaving it to dry. You can see they dry really quickly. Let's do silver on top of the turquoise. And then the purple and the violet. It's very subtle and yeah, it's lovely. And the key again, work quickly. If you watched any of my previous tutorials, you'll know that some things you do have to take time over. Other things you need to work quickly, otherwise things get muddy. So this is the gold on top of the blues. See that? See how it's all coming together. Let's do the gold on top of the purple, which is one I particularly like. Do like gold on top of purple. You see that lovely shimmer. And this one is still yeah, see that, still wet. It will still work, but it is better if the paint's dry. Let's just move that one, just do that last one. I'm going to leave those to dry for a few minutes, and then I'm going to come back and then do another coat, and then you can see the results. So while waiting for those to dry, I thought I'd show you these ones. And these are using greens. And these I'm going to turn into little trees for my cards. I've got little cards that I make as elements, and and I use them for journaling and things like that as well. But again, I've just put down the base colour of various shades of greens, doing a brown and then a kind of a purpley brown. And then on top, I'm just doing a combination of the sort of bronzy gold that I used before. And you just see the effect on top of the green is quite lovely. And like this one here, I did gold and silver. I just thought I'd try some different bits out. I'm going to do just a few more. I really hope you're well. It's a very kind of crazy time of year, sort of getting towards the end of December or nearer Christmas now. Obviously, you might not be watching this in December at all, but I do hope you're well. And thank you so much for your lovely comments. I really do appreciate them so much. If you are liking this video and you're getting something from it, a little like is so appreciated. It really helps my channel to grow and helps me to sort of release more tutorials that are free for anyone who's interested in arts and crafts. So if you haven't liked it yet, that would be lovely. And if you want to leave a little comment, that would be nice. If you're not sure what to write, you could just do a little heart. Or you could tell me what the weather is doing, because we always like a bit of a weather update here on my channel. Because it's so lovely hearing you from all of you who are all over the world. So here in the West Country in England, I live in West Dorset. The sun is shining, it's very blue. Blue sky, and the sheep are very happy in the field opposite my studio. I can look out the window and see them, which is really lovely. But it's very cold. It is very cold. So you see, I'm just putting these on there, and you can see how that's coming. I know it doesn't, the metallics don't show up that brilliantly. When they're dry completely, I'll do a bit of a close-up, and then I'll show you what I do with these at the end of the video. I've got back to these are all dry now, and I'm just going to go over with the same metallic that I did before. So this was silver. It just sort of intensifies it just a little bit, just gives it a little bit more. If you've got a mixture of metallics like I have in this palette, then you could try different ones and see what that would look like. All the materials that I use I will list below, plus alternatives, because some you can't get in certain countries. I'll do my best to suggest them for you. There we go, like that. The gold, I think in particular, is really good when you double it. Just do a second coat. Really does come out well. I think you can see that. But can you see what happens when you paint over the top of a colour? Completely changes it, and it's just fabulous. So I'm hoping that you're getting some ideas and you're thinking, I can get my metallics back out of the cupboard now. And these aren't expensive. You know, some of the paints that I use I just get from the children's department in craft shops, or even in the supermarket. Just do, and see with the silver as well, you can just pick it up. So you can see I don't need to do any more of those. You can see what's going on. Right, I'm just going to show you some of the things that I do. I thought I'd do a few trees. I was doing my Christmas cards. I'm just going to bring that out this year. Are nearly all trees. I thought I would just go down a Christmas tree route. I did some collage trees. I did a tutorial on how to make that card because I really like that one. And then I've got all my little tree elements here all ready to go. And these have got a little bit of the luster paint plus gold and silver pens. Just sort of having a bit of a play with those. Anyway, watercolour trees. And what I'm going to do now is just a little bit of silver and gold on top of it. And you know, you could do the whole thing, or you could just do like I'm doing here, just a few little lines, just to kind of give it a bit of a shimmer. So I think that can be really lovely. Look at that. You see that? Just gives it a little dusting of sparkle. I do really like the golds and coppers on the green. I think that works beautifully. I was doing some lines. You could do some mark making, you could do patterns. These are just in my sketchbook, just as a sort of a demonstration. Let's just do, I'll just show you another. Just do some dots, just with the end of my brush. Like that, which is quite fun. And this one I think I'll just do over the whole thing, so it becomes, all of it is a shimmery tree with that green underneath, like that. So I'm going to put those to one side, and then I'm just going to show you what I do with some of the elements, and then that will be it. There we go. So I've come back to my little trees. I am going to go round the edge, kind of like with a wiggly line, like this, just on some of them. I like this kind of loose idea. And then I'm going to use my metallic purple to do some little baubles. So you see how easy these elements are, but they're really quite effective. Let's just do some little dangly things. Like that. I'm sure you've got lots of ideas. I'll do some these little dots. But you can see when you put the metallics over the top, it works really well. You don't have to use metallics. You could use just other acrylic pens. You can't see that one quite as well, but you get the idea. And then what I'm going to do is just I cut them out, and then I put them into my cards. And sometimes I'll use them in my journals. So this is a journal that I've been working on since the beginning of Advent. So if you are a regular, you will have seen this, the start of it. It's a very simple flip journal that I really like to use. And I've put in some poems and some haikus. And I wanted to show you this page because I've put metallic over the top of watercolour, and I've put in the elements and then written a little poem there. Let's just tuck that one in. That's just another page where I've used stencils. And then this one, the same. I've used very pale colours and then put the metallic over the top, and I will write in this last week of Advent. That's going to do. And then this one using the purples and golds, which I really do like. I think it works really well. If you want to learn how to make this little flip journal, I will put a link to the tutorial below. I really hope you enjoyed that. I've been joined by both the cats today, and I'm about to decorate the Christmas tree. And even though these two are really old, they're old cats. You're an old boy now, aren't you, Monty? And Amber still thinks she's a kitten, but they're actually 16 years old. And they love when I put up the Christmas tree, bless you. They absolutely love it. So I hope that you did enjoy it, that you've got some ideas and you're going to do some metallic stuff with it. Do you like the earrings? It had to be done, really. Had to. Monty, what are you doing now? Anyway, if you'd like to see some more, you could look at this one or this one, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.